What's up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with you on the Meltdown Radio podcast with another edition of the Species Spotlight. And today I'm doing actually a reaction video from the Tarantula Collective. Richard recently put out a video about the top 10 tarantulas that never turn down food. And I thought, well, that's an interesting topic to have because I do have spiders in my collection. I have about 25 or 26 different species right now. And not all of them behave in the same way, which, with creatures can be usual, like just like humans. We are a little bit different on how we behave and act and eat and whatever else. And spiders are no different. But it is interesting how some spiders that I have are more aggressive eaters than other ones, even if they're like big and bulging or whatever. Like, it's very interesting that they'll still eat. And that's the thing that I kind of struggle with sometimes because, you shouldn't overfeed a tarantula. And especially as they get bigger now, from what I understand, as spiderlings and juveniles, it's okay to do that because they're continuing to grow. But it's basically once they've matured out, they really don't, like, unless they're very thin, they don't really need to eat a lot. But I feel bad sometimes. Now, the good news for me, like, I feel bad because sometimes my tarantulas will go too long, like a week or two, or not a week, but like 2 to 3 weeks. And technically that's okay. But at the same time, because I don't feed them dubias anymore. It's just, unless it's like a really big spider, they don't really have, interest too much in dubias roaches. So even with the bigger ones, I keep it kind of small with the crickets. Like, you can get a large cricket, but the spider's like the size of your hand. That's just like a morsel basically. So even with my bigger spiders, like, I don't overfeed them, but then, like, I will give them a cricket like every once or twice a week, not twice a week, but once every 2 weeks or whatever, to at least keep them sustained a little bit, because some of them are slower molters, like the slow growers. They won't molt right away, whereas other species I have molt pretty fast because they're younger. And it's very interesting because I just had one of my tarantulas molt the other day, which I didn't even know she wasn't showing signs of that. So much like my curly hair, she doesn't shed skin or fur on her abdomen when she molts. It's just like one day I wake up and she's molted. So, like, it's very interesting how some of them will show that they're going to molt and the other ones won't. But I'm curious what Richard has to say about these tarantulas, of which breeds or which genuses of them are the ones that eat the most. So, like, we'll kind of like react to it, and I'll stop and pause if I want to talk about a species I might have that does the same thing. I have my own species, which I'll talk about afterwards, that I know to eat a lot. But we'll see about what he says on his. So let's go ahead and get started.
Tarantula Collective, my name is Richard, and one of the coolest parts about keeping tarantulas is feeding time. Some species are calm and methodical, like they're dining at a 5-star restaurant. Others, well, they're complete maniacs, eating like it's their last meal on Earth. So today we're counting down the top 10 tarantulas with the biggest appetites. The spiders that never say no to seconds or thirds or anything that wanders into their enclosure, really. Starting the list off with number 10 is the Chaco golden knee.
Have to get one of these.
Yes, I know Grammostola species are usually famous for fasting and being stubborn eaters, but the Grammostola pulchripes might just break that stereotype. Once they
That probably is true too. Except for, I'm trying to think now because I have a Brazilian black, Brazilian blue, and now I have a Brazilian white knee, and they all kind of share the same genius as far as like scientific names. I think this one belongs kind of in that category too. But like the only one right now, because obviously my blue and my black are males, so obviously they're not going to eat as much. But even my black still looks so good. Like for a male, he's in better shape than my male blue, Brazilian blue. But I think really overall the blue is eating more than the black. But you know, again, because they're males, they're not going to be as hungry. They're just really basically waiting to die at this point because their goal now is to mate, and I don't do a breeding here in my house or anything like that. So I would send them out. I just don't have anybody near me that would take them and swap them out from some females or something, because that's really kind of like what I want to do going forward. Is it's one of those, it's catch-22, man. Like I can spend like $100 to $125 to $200 for a specific spider for a specific female, right? But then there's a part of me that really loves watching a young spider grow and feeding it and taking care of it in that way. So it's like, and plus it's cheaper. I can get like a really nice spider. It may only be yay big for like $30 to $40. So I'll be able to help it grow, but sometimes you take the risk of it not surviving, or it turns out it's a male. And so then you're stuck again having a male that's only got like a short lifespan, unfortunately. But those are the kind of things I'll have to tackle about how I want to go forward with my hobby, because I like to grow my collection, but now I'm pretty much at the hilt. Like I just don't have enough room for any more, really. Like I'm still reworking how to do it. And so I'll probably be doing another video at some point with my camera to show you all, like as best as I can, my basically new setup or new design. Like I actually went the other day and I split up my two shelvings with old world versus new world. And so I wanted to be able to keep track of like how many new worlds I have versus old worlds, and both collections have a lot of each, really. So like my last haul was like, out of the 7 spiders I got, 5 of them were old worlds. So like, I was not in by intention or anything. It's just how it turned out when I went to buy spiders a while back. So back in August. But yeah, so this Chaco is one that a lot of tarantula keepers have in their collections. I do not have one of these yet. I mean, they're usually pretty easy to get. So even if I go to Repticon or whatever, they generally will have these. Even though the last one I went to, which was a new for me because I was in a different state, there was only one guy doing tarantulas, and I've met him before, Jurassic Exotics, and cool dude. He and his wife have been doing this for a while. They have a lot of tarantulas. So that was the good news. Like for him to be there, he made out like a band. I spent like $350 that day on spiders. So basically, he was happy to be the only one there. Like there was no competition. So like I said, he made out like a bandit with the money that day. He was really appreciative. So I was looking out for him. So yeah, so the Chaco, I guess, is one of these bigger eaters, but they're part of the same family of the some of the spiders I have. So yeah.
Get to juvenile or adult size, these guys are reliable feeders with a healthy appetite. In their native Paraguay and Argentina, they live in open grasslands where prey availability isn't always guaranteed, so they've evolved to eat whenever the opportunity presents itself. That instinct carries over into captivity. They won't charge across the enclosure like a Pamphobetus, but they won't turn down a meal either. And considering that they can reach up to about 8 inches in size, they can put away a lot more food than people give them credit for. Number 9 is the Texas tan, or the biggest tarantula native to the United States. Now,
Now, I don't have one of these either, but you know, mainly because it's more of your standard tarantula. It's kind of boring to look at. I mean, not that I would dismiss it as a pet at any time if I got one, but right now I'm more of the exotic, the harder ones that come by generally. And it's funny because you mentioned about how some tarantulas will leap at their food, and I have my Huspopolian. I know I'm butchering the scientific name, but it's another bird eater that I have. He or she will launch. I've told Neko, like, when I feed it, I basically, when I open up my enclosure, I have to throw it towards the back of the enclosure, because if I were to drop it in front, she would probably leap in and out of the fucking enclosure to get the food. Like, always will jump to get to it. So I just like have it in my tongs, the cricket in my tongs, and I just toss it, and this spider would just fly to get it. And it's really crazy and wild to see this spider just launch itself to get its food. And she's actually a very good eater. My other red island bird eater generally is a good eater, but she's kind of big now, so she's kind of just been chill and not worried about eating. But the behaviors of spiders when they eat is pretty amazing.
Faunopelma don't usually get mentioned for their appetites because they're such slow growers. But don't let that fool you. A big female of Faunopelma anax is a consistent, enthusiastic eater. These spiders are built to...
Now you saw like the little patch on the back of the abdomen there. That's the sign of a pre-molt. So this spider will eventually molt. Now they're slow growers, as Richard said, so she may look like this for a while. I have a Costa Rican striped knee who's been patched up for a little while now. She's also a slow grower in a sense, especially as she's getting older, but she may not molt for another month or so.
Survive decades in the dry scrub and deserts of Texas, where meals can be few and far between. When food is available, they take full advantage. In captivity, they'll rarely refuse a meal. They may not have the dramatic lunges of some South American giants, but what they lack in flash, they make up for in consistency. They can live up to 25 to 30 years, so over the decades, that adds up to a whole lot of crickets and roaches. Coming in at number 8 is the curly hair. And look, they may not be winning any beauty contests, but they make up for it with an appetite that just won't quit.
And this is no lie. So this is one species I do have that this is my curly hair is named Loki. One of my probably like my second or third spider I ever got. These are great beginner spiders. If you're ever going to get in the hobby, curly hairs are one of the most docile, lovable. I won't say lovable because they don't have any emotions, but they technically are kind of lovable. But this Loki is a massively great eater. She gets big sometimes. Obviously, she's very healthy now. But if I drop a cricket in every 2 weeks, like boom, snacks it right the fuck up. Like doesn't even hesitate. It's really, really amazing how good of an eater she is. I could literally put 3 in there right now, and she'd probably eat them all. But again, you don't want to have to overfeed a spider if they got a great abdomen and they're big and they're healthy and all that stuff. But yeah, the curly hair, I expected to see this on a list. There's another one particular species that I have that I expect to kind of see on this list. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, the curly hairs, great beginner spiders. Their temperaments are very nice. I've never gotten a defensive posture from Loki at all. You probably, and again, they're a new world. So the only thing you have to really worry about is kicking hairs. But again, even when Loki's in there, she doesn't really do anything like that. She just kind of like runs away if I open up the door. She's out in the open all the time. So she's just a really, really good spider. Great for beginners.
Curly hairs are known for being hardy, forgiving, and very food motivated. They don't care if it's a cricket, a roach, or just about anything else that wiggles. They are gonna eat it. They're also pretty quick growers for a New World tarantula. That growth is fueled by a steady diet, and these guys rarely miss a meal unless they're in pre-molt. If you want a tarantula that's always ready to chow down, the curly hair delivers.
That's interesting because some of these curly hairs are much darker. So I don't know if someone can verify with me if the curly hair is darker. Is that a sign that it's a male? Like, I'm just curious out of that because mine is like the first one that he showed where it was more lighter and vibrant and silver. This one, these other latest ones look like they've been more darker in nature, unless it's just a camera. I don't know, but maybe somebody can confirm whether there's different colors to the curly hairs.
Number 7 is the Brazilian black and white, or the Vitalius chromatus. This spider looks like it walks straight out of a Tim Burton movie. Black legs with stark white striping, long and lanky build, and it eats with the same intensity that it looks like it has.
Now, I have a Brazilian white knee that I just recently got, and they are very similar in look. But of course, the Brazilian white knee is a little bit lighter. But right now, my Brazilian white knee is like yay big, but she eats a lot and she loves to eat. Like she just will eat. So it doesn't surprise me that a similar species like this attached to her. And to my Brazilian black and blue would be a hearty eater. Gotta say, dude, I love these enclosures. Like, I love what he's done with these. Very nice.
In the wild, these tarantulas live in forested areas of Brazil where they have plenty of competition for food, so they don't waste time when something wanders by. In captivity, that means bold, aggressive feeding responses. If you keep one, you know what I'm talking about. The way they explode out of their burrows, grab prey, and sometimes even chase it down across the enclosure. They're large, they're fast, and they're hungry. Definitely one of the hobby's most celebrated eaters. Number 6 is the salmon pink bird eater. This species gets massive, up to 10 inches, and it gets there fast. That kind of growth takes fuel, and Lasiodora pariabana has the appetite to match. They're known for taking down multiple prey items at once and for having one of the most dramatic feeding responses in the hobby. In the wild, these spiders live in northeastern Brazil, where food is abundant, and they've evolved to take advantage of that. They're not picky. If it moves, it's food. In captivity, that translates to a spider that will pretty much always be ready to eat. You can offer them a dubia roach bigger than your thumb, and they're going to take it down like a light snack. Halfway down the list, we've got the Brazilian white knee.
There you go. Yeah, this is the one that I have that is very young right now, but she, like I said, she eats very well for even for her size right now as a young juvie. Not even really in a juvie stage. It's still very much just coming out of the spiderling area, but hearty eater, man. Very hearty eater.
If there was a contest for the hungriest tarantula in the world, this species would be a finalist every single time. White knees are notorious for their speed, their aggression towards food, and the refusal to miss a meal. In fact, many keepers joke that if your white knee refuses food, you know it's either in primo or the apocalypse is happening right now. That's how reliable they are. They're large, colorful, and they'll eat every feeder you throw at them. If you want a spider that guarantees action every single feeding, the Brazilian white knee is it. Coming in at number 4 is the entire Pamphobetus genus. Pamphos are massive, colorful, and ridiculously fast growers. They're also some of the most aggressive eaters in the tarantula hobby. A Pamphobetus strike isn't just a grab, it's a full-body tackle. These spiders come from the rainforests of South America, where food is abundant and competition is fierce. That environment has shaped them into bold, opportunistic predators. In captivity, they don't just take down the prey, they practically body slam it. If you're looking for a tarantula that puts on a show every feeding, you just can't go wrong with a Pamphobetus. Number 3 takes us up to the trees with Poecilotheria, the ornamental tarantulas of India and Sri Lanka.
Now, I have 3 different species in this genus. I've got the striata, I have the regalis, and the metallica, Goody Sapphire. And really, my Goody right now, she eats well, but she's very young. But my regalis and my striata. Now, my striata, I've found out, is a male, so that's partly why he won't like eat as much as he once did when he was growing. The regalis is still eating pretty well, but I'm starting to wonder by the body size that it might be another male, which would be disappointing because I really love having females that live longer. But nevertheless, I don't know unless they're like, it depends on the sex, I would assume here, because my ornamentals, like I don't usually catch them eating, even though like with the regalis, I noticed the crickets I put in there were gone. So obviously he or she could be a night hunter, and that's when, you know, the food is getting taken. But I do know my striata is not much of a big eater. I do see that crickets disappear, but again, I don't know how often he's eating. But I do know from his tapping on the window that he is indeed a male, to try to call out a female that I don't have. So
Pokies are some of the most dramatic feeders you will ever see. They don't just grab prey, they launch themselves at it. They'll chase it across bark, up enclosure walls, or even hang upside down while eating. What makes them stand out is that arboreal feeding style.
that's the metallica there.
Watching a Pokie eat isn't just a feeding, it's a whole acrobatic performance. And they're not shy about food either. In the wild, they live in tropical forests where insects and small vertebrates are plentiful, and they're not about to pass up a free meal. If you want some lightning fast feeding that's gonna get your heart racing, you're gonna wanna be feeding some Poecilotheria. Now I know what you're thinking.
Wait, Richard, the green bottle blue? Your favorite neon poster child of the tarantula hobby? The dainty little rainbow with legs?
Yes, that one. And don't let those pretty colors fool you. This tarantula eats like a linebacker after leg day.
Now, I did recently get one of these, but it's a spiraling at the moment, and I mean it's eating, but I don't really catch it when it eats. But obviously, the food that's in there starts to disappear after a little while. But so this is interesting. This will be interesting to see how mine, as it gets larger and older, how its feeding habits will be, because I'll be looking out for this, because I love spiders that eat right away. Like, it's really cool to watch. I actually caught not too long ago my Akaya earth tiger hunting this cricket down. I unfortunately, when I bumped the shelf, it got spooked and went down to its hole. But the Akaya doesn't come out too often from her burrow. So when she came out, when she was out trying to hunt down this cricket, I was like, oh, cool, look who's out playing. So But again, interesting thing about that kai is like the enclosure is not super huge, but when I put like 2 or 3 crickets in there, they end up being gone, so I never see them again. So clearly she's eating. I just don't catch her most of the time, but uh, great spider there too as well. Just haven't really seen her get to her prey right away.
The Chromatopelma cyanopubescens, or GBB for short, might look fragile, but they're one of the most aggressive feeders in this entire hobby.
Look at those colors.
In the wild, they come from the arid scrublands of northern Venezuela, where food isn't exactly falling from the sky. So when something edible does wander by, they do not hesitate. They pounce like they're trying to make up for every missed meal of their ancestors. If you've ever owned one, then you know the drill. You drop in a cricket and bam, it's gone. They don't stalk, they don't hesitate, they just launch themselves into a furry blue missile of hunger. What makes them really fascinating is how active and visible they are while still being ferocious eaters. Most tarantulas that eat like to hide for days afterwards, but the GBB, now they're out posing on top of their web like, yeah, I just did that, you got any more? And their feeding response stays this intense all the way through adulthood, which makes them one of the few colorful tarantula species that's really easy to take care of and really fun to feed. You'll never have to wonder if your GBB is hungry, because the answer is always yes. And for number 1, it's really no surprise here, it's the Goliath bird eater.
I mean, I would assume that because the Goliath is like one of the largest, if not the largest tarantula in the entire world, that in order to sustain itself, it has to have quite a bit of food. I mean, obviously they get the name bird eater for a reason. They will take down birds if necessary, but it's not really a good part of their diet. Like to be honest, their name doesn't really reflect that that's really what they should be eating. You don't like if you had one as a pet, feeding it a bird is not really necessary nor needed. Like it will get better nutrition from giant roaches or even in this case for the Goliath, pinky mice are a good feed, but they would have to be kind of wiggling. So, and even then, pinky mice still have like a lot of cartilage and stuff like that. So again, not the most nutritious thing for them to eat. So you're better off with just crickets and roaches and worms and stuff, or even the Goliath bird. But you probably have to put like, I don't know, 2 or 3 maybe dubia roaches in there to sustain, when it eats, as far as like whenever you feed it. But that's the only thing I can assume that you would have to have in terms of like to keep it, because it's such a large spider.
This is the largest tarantula in the world by mass. And with great size comes a great big appetite. Theraphosa species, including Blondie, Sturmey, and Apophysis, are all notorious for their feeding responses. They don't just eat one prey item at a time. These spiders can and will take multiple roaches, crickets, or whatever else you offer, and they'll pile them up like leftovers at Thanksgiving. Their sheer size makes even a single feeding look like a spectacle. In the wild, they live in the humid South American rainforest where food is everywhere, and they've evolved to take advantage of that. In captivity, this makes them one of the most impressive and intimidating tarantulas when it comes time to feed. So there you have it, the top 10 tarantulas with the biggest appetites. These are the species that remind you why feeding time is one of the best parts of this hobby. Whether it's consistency, speed, or sheer spectacle, each of these species makes mealtime something to look forward to. Well, as always, I appreciate you watching. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for buying Tarantula Collective merchandise, and I will see you next Tuesday.
What a fun-loving guy, man. He's very cool. I like watching his stuff. I follow his Facebook page and all that stuff. Outside of Dave's Little Beasties, like he's a really good guy to follow. He has a lot of great information on his website and stuff like that about tarantulas. I don't know how long Richard's been in the industry, but I guess it's been a pretty long time, as a tarantula keeper and hobbyist. So, but check out his videos. Very good dude. Very informative, and I love playing with those videos. But again, he did miss a couple of species that I have that he didn't really mention. Or he did mention the Formicabus. I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry, but it's basically Hispolian giant tarantula, which is one that I have. What I talked about with the Hispolian, like jumps and leaps to get to its food. Like she's a little bit, it's probably about the size of the middle of my hand right now, just, without the legs sprawled out. But once she gets like very large, like she's another version of a bird eater that I have. And so once she keeps growing or he keeps growing, it's going to be a pretty big spider, but a very healthy eater in that respect. But I also have my Mexican red knee, like he didn't mention that. My Mexican red knee, Salem, she will eat anything. And she's really big right now. So she's one of those ones where, because I think she is a slow grower, I get a little worried because she's really big right now, but then I don't want to go too long without giving her at least a cricket. So, cricket's not usually big with her. So I figure once every 2 weeks, I can still drop one in and she'll be okay. It won't be like overfed or anything like that because she is big. But again, she's female. So, but I want to make sure that when she does go and molt, that she's not going to run into problems with like energy or get stuck or anything like that. So I want her to be well nutritioned as long as she's got water in there and everything. So she's fine. Also, he didn't mention my Colombian giant red leg. That one just recently molted, and she's like a aggressive, great eater. Like every time I put food in there, boom, snatching it up. Now, granted, she's a little bit younger. She's not like a full mature spider yet, but still just an incredible, huge eater. You mentioned the curly hair. I have one of those, obviously. Other spiders that I have do eat, but like again, a lot of times they also will only eat when they feel like it. So that's not always the case. Like my skeleton leg spider, I have seen it eat occasionally, but again, it's more of a finicky when it's in the mood to eat rather than just an aggressive eater. But yeah, so I was surprised he said the ornamentals, the pokies, just because usually the ones that I have, they eat, but they're not like the most aggressive eaters I've seen. But then again, like I said, I don't get to watch them 24/7. So the crickets I do put in their enclosures, they sometimes will, the crickets will be disappear. Like there's either two things that happen. One, they drown themselves in the water dish, or which is probably a better fate for them, or they get caught up when I'm not around by the spider and consumed. But yeah, good video by Richard there. A lot of fun to kind of look at some of the spiders. I'm definitely got to get a Choco because a lot of people talk about them. I think even, and this is kind of off, but actress Angel Bradford, she was on set somewhere for one of her movies, and she's actually in the picture holding up Choco, which is quite big in her hand. Like it's really, now granted she's a petite little girl, or not little girl, but petite girl. And the spider was like almost bigger than her hand. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's bigger than my hand, but the one that she had was clearly a nice size for a tarantula. And I think that was Choco for sure. But either way, I need to get one of those just because it is a very nice looking spider. But eventually I'll get there with that. But for the time being, I've got plenty on my plate. As I said, well over 24 to 25 tarantulas right now. So my room is full. And hopefully some of my younger ones take a while to grow, because it's like a combination right now where I'm kind of just waiting for some of the males to die off so that I can make room for these other ones to grow and get better and bigger. Not that I want spiders to die, but it's just a natural part of the hobby itself. It's going to happen. I had a purple earth tiger that had spiderling that passed away. I got another one that was a little bit like a 2-incher, which seems to be doing okay so far. But yeah, it's just part of the hobby. They die off, and that's why kind of like you want females the most, because they do tend to live a lot longer than the males. So that's how it is. Anyway, coming up today, 1:00 p.m. Eastern, I'll be joining Kevin Lambert on his channel. We're going to continue the Fear of the Wolf. We're making up on this particular this episode where we're talking about the trilogy of Ginger Snaps. So obviously this month has been Fear of the Wolf, of the werewolves and wolfmen type stuff. So he was ill the other day when he was supposed to do it a week or so ago. So now we're just kind of making up and getting that video done for him, because I really want to talk about that particular franchise. So I'm glad he was able to reschedule it. And so I'll be doing that, and he'll have it up at some point. I don't know if he's doing it live or not, but we'll see how it goes. And then later, I'm going to do a live trailer reaction again. I've got 10 trailers I'm going to go through and do it live. And just, if you guys want to come and chat, hang out and talk while I do the trailers, it'd be great. If not, it's fine too, but I'll just be doing that probably around 4:00 p.m. Eastern time. So if anybody's interested, come on by. Let's have some fun. Let's watch some trailers and have a blast. So please like and subscribe. Let me know your opinions and your comments about what you saw in the video. Are you a hobbyist? How do you feel about the spiders that you have? Do you feel like some were missing from his list? Let me know. And we'll see you later, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You see before you die. Find the